Listen, don't be offended by this. I know I'm a man, and men should probably stay out of women's reproductive thing, but I'm not seeing a lot of women say this. I'm not seeing a lot of anybody say this or acknowledge this. And this is something that is causing a lot of people a lot of trouble. This is something that is destroying a whole lot of lives and throwing off the trajectory of a lot of life experiences. So forgive me for being a man and saying this, but I think a lot of other women should be talking about this, and it's just not being said. I'm not hearing it in what's coming up in my timelines. Um, but motherhood doesn't start at getting pregnant. Motherhood starts at selection. I'm going to say that again. Motherhood starts at selection. It doesn't start at getting pregnant. A lot of you guys, ladies, are selecting men who have nothing to offer, who can't be counted on, who aren't responsible, who don't love themselves, who can't love you, who aren't considerate of anyone else besides themselves, who have nothing, who aren't building anything, who take, and never give anything, who haven't self-sacrificed, who don't believe in struggle or hard work. Motherhood starts at selection. If you keep selecting these garbage-ass men who have nothing to offer you, why are you so surprised when they have nothing to offer your child? What do you think you're going to get from that man as a father? Too many people run around here thinking that somehow or another parenthood is the thing that makes you a good person. Parenthood will complete you, or parenthood will build out of you a person of good character, of good intention, of goodwill, of a good work ethic. People always think, oh, I'm sure he'll be okay once we have our son. I'm sure he'll shake back. I'm sure he'll change. We've heard so many stories about men who say, well, I wasn't nothing and I had my first son. I knew I had to change. I knew I had to change. We should realize, though, that those men are the exception, not the rule. Most shitty people, most selfish people are selfish no matter what. Most selfish people don't put that down to raise their kids a lot of times. Yes, a lot of us grow, a lot of us evolve, a lot of us change because we have kids and we want them to have a great experience. So our father or our mother instincts kick over. But that's not to say everyone's experience will be like that. And to select a mate based on the type of person you hope he becomes as a result of having a child instead of the person that he's showing you he is now is just foolish. Like, I'm a parent, so I already know. We all want the best for our children. Even before I had kids, I imagined the life I could give them. We all want our kids to be happy, healthy, whole, loved, nurtured, right? Stretched, challenged, protected, cared for. We all want those things for our children. But sometimes we get so caught up in the things that we accept, the things that we don't love about ourselves, the things that we don't require in relationship to how people treat us, that we forget that the way we let people treat us, a lot of times is the same way they'll treat our children. So while we might take shit from people in relationships and think, well, that's okay, I have low self-esteem, you're going to build that same low self-esteem, that same tumultuous experience in your child's life by selecting men who are mistreating you and not giving you their best and not responsible to you and won't answer to you and won't self-sacrifice for you. What these guys will give you a lot of times is the same thing that they're willing to give their children. So men who don't respect the sanctity of a relationship, who don't find any sacredcy in the idea of love, who despise women, who manipulate them, who cause harm without care, those same men often project that same behavior onto their children. Someone who has the propensity to hurt people and know about it and not make adjustments and continue to do that over and over and over again will likely not serve a child any good because they can't give morals and values that they don't have to a child. They can't teach integrity and character if those are things that they don't possess. How can one truly love a child if he hasn't learned to love himself, if he still puts himself or you at risk daily with a troubled lifestyle? If he hasn't learned how to be responsible and take care of himself and thrive in his own life? If he hasn't saw fit to try to provide you any stability, what type of stability do you think that he's going to try to provide a child? Right? Is he going to turn into a responsible, caring, dependable person because you got pregnant or because you had a baby? No, a lot of these guys are even missing the birth because they're still screwing other women while you're in the hospital. Please just start to select men who you can trust with or without a child in mind. Don't count on a shitty man becoming a great man because you get pregnant. Because some of them, most of them, remain shitty. It's a question of character. It's a question of integrity. It's a question of life intention. It's a question of belief system. It's a question of responsibility. Those things can't just be thrust upon you with a "I'm pregnant" call. So ladies, do yourself a favor. When you're dating, you need to be selecting men. Only lay down with men who have the propensity to be decent enough fathers. Because too many lives are being ruined by women thinking that a guy might change, hoping that a guy might change, getting pregnant, trying to save a relationship, or just getting pregnant by being reckless, but never really considering the fact that that guy might not make a good father because he hasn't served anyone but himself for his whole life. Again, this isn't to chastise you, but if you're looking into biology, if you're looking at science, science starts at selection. Every species of every animal selects based on survival, the optimal chance of survival, the optimal chance to thrive in their natural environment. A lot of the men that some of you are choosing don't have a relationship with the idea of responsibility or self-sacrifice. They wouldn't even make good big brothers, let alone fathers. So please just be careful and be selective. Realize that motherhood starts at selection. It doesn't start at pregnancy. So please start selecting men who have the propensity to provide something to a child if and when you were to get pregnant. I hate having to be a man and say this because I think more women should be putting this stuff out there, but they're not. A lot of women are on this girl power kick. Do what you want kick. It's your life. I get that. Cool. Perfect. But if you're going to be in a situation where you're not on birth control and you could possibly get pregnant, you need to know who a guy is. You need to know what his sense of responsibility is, his sense of service is, his sense of manhood is all about, what drives him, what motivates him, what he's passionate about, what he might be teaching your child if you were to have a child with him, if he can be trusted around children, if he can be depended on or counted on when you're doing bad or when you need support, medical or otherwise. Does he have a job? Can he pay child support or provide for a family? Would he stick around? Is he a man of integrity and is he a man of his word? These things matter when you're having sex, when you're partying, when you're having fun, when you're engaging in casual relationships. It still matters. Please be more selective about the people you date and spend time around, and give your time too, because if something were to happen, you're stuck with them forever. And you've made a permanent decision to deal with a weak man in a temporary situation of horny. At the very least, make the requirement to lay down with you a sense of responsibility and an ability to provide. At the very least. What type of life do you want for your child? Do you want a healthy life for your child? A healthy relationship with both parents? A healthy household? A warm atmosphere? A good example? The type of life that you give your child is in direct relationship with the type of guys you choose. If you want your child to have the fullest experience, do whatever you can to make sure and to ensure that the guys you choose to be intimate with and the guys you choose to be in relationships with have the propensity to be great for a child. Of course, a lot of women have been bamboozled, been lied to, been disappointed by guys who seem to be good. But a lot of y'all aren't even thinking about those things to begin with. A lot of women have been abandoned by guys who appear to be great. I get that. I'm not talking to y'all. I'm talking to the women who choose very recklessly or who aren't really selective at all, who are just chasing the pleasure, chasing the moment, YOLO, you only live once, all of those things. That's cool. But when you have a child, that's permanent. That's a long-term commitment to a very, very temporary relationship many of the times. So again, just give your child the best chance at stability, at love, at being nurtured by two parents, instead of selecting poorly and then saying, well, I'll be the mother and the father. Sometimes that happens regardless. Sometimes we can't change that from happening, but we can at least prepare ourselves or attempt to give our child the best experience by just selecting our mates carefully. Anyway, that's all I got for now. Follow me at KidFig24 on Instagram. That's my rant for the day. I'll get with y'all later.